Good afternoon. It's a cool March Sunday here at Moraine State Park in western PA. Today I'm working on my miles on the North Country Trail, but first I'm going to check out the native plant and butterfly trail. And this trail is an extension of the bike trail, and it also shares the North Country Trail. And this is an Audubon sanctuary. And the trailhead is at McDanel's. There's no I, it's not McDaniel's, it's McDanel's. And that group of trees is believed to have been the McDanel's farm. This was all farm before the park was created. So my plan for today is hike about 2 miles on the North Country Trail and 2 miles back. Hopefully I can get my 4 miles in. So this trail here, it's also an extension of the bike trail. So while I'm here, might as well loop around the butterfly trail. Is that it? Let me see. Here's another beautiful pine forest. However, these trees are different than the other ones. They're different species of evergreen. Here we go, the butterfly trail. So I'm going to do a short hike on this one before continuing on the North Country Trail. And this is ideal if you have small children. This is a great way to teach them about nature and the outdoors. Hey, this area would be a great lesson plan. You can teach young kids about trees. Which trees lose their leaves, and they can point to the ones that are evergreens. So the lesson is point to the trees that lose their leaves, and then the kids can point, and then point to the trees that are evergreens, and they can point. So it's very interactive and hands-on. I don't know about you, but I'm a hands-on learner. Native tree orchard. When you see native plants were here before European settlers arrived. So these are plants that have adapted to the soil and the weather. Here is the native plant pond. Cute little bridge. And this pond is probably nesting grounds for amphibians. So I can just imagine hearing the peepers here whenever it's warmer. And these saplings are protected by fences. They are called deer exclusers because it keeps the deer and other animal molds from munching away. Then the fence is removed once the trees get big enough. And this says, why native plants? So they support wildlife by providing food sources, low maintenance, and sustainable. Like I said earlier, native plants have adapted to our local climate and soil. Looks like this area here is filled with goldenrods. Looks like it's trying to mimic the prairie at Jennings. Jennings is beautiful all year round, but it's the prettiest during the last couple weeks of July and first few weeks of August because all of the flowers are in bloom. And that's the only time of year you can see the blazing star flowers. And they even have an event called Celebrate the Bloom, which I highly recommend you attend. You can see where the beaver took a bite out of the tree. Here's a nice secluded spot. And as you can see, the beavers have been busy. And this is a great place to teach kids about succession. And succession happens when forest takes over a clear area. This could be used as a laboratory to teach kids about succession. Moving right along. This section of the trail between McDanel's and the bike rental place is relatively flat, and it's gravel. So you don't have to worry about rocks or exposed roots. Here I am at the bike rental lot. The original building was struck by lightning in March of 2022. The building caught fire and was eventually demolished. But I'm not going to walk on the bike trail today. I'm going to be walking on the North Country Trail. I'm going to continue down over the hill until I get to an area called Hidden River. I did bike the trail a couple years ago. It's beautiful with a variety of scenery. It is difficult because there are some uphill sections. But it's 7 miles one way. And remember, it's not a loop trail, it's an out and back. So I got a total of 14 miles in. And I can go ahead and post that video at the end here. Here's where the trail gets rugged. Straight ahead, we are looking at the Hidden River area. Even though there's no river here, but that's the name it was given. And it is hidden, so if you're not familiar with all the trails in the park, this may be a surprise if you're just seeing this for the first time. 'Cause I know years ago I've driven past here many times and I never realized this was here until about 10 years ago. So many people drive past here and they don't even realize this is here. And there are little trails through the woods here that fishermen have made over the years. Yeah. Head down the steps to this scenic bridge. And the water is still frozen. We had some pretty cold nights the last few days. And this is a great place, if you're new at kayaking, this is a great place to kayak because you don't have the wakes from other boats. And last August I did stand-up paddle boarding with Surf's Up Adventures and we came back here. Ian's a great instructor. He gave me some tips. And these cliffs were once filled with... Okay, the cliffs you're looking at are Vanport limestone. The limestone was hauled to the Western Allegheny Railroad and shipped off to Pittsburgh for industry. And it looks like the beavers have been hard at work. One nice thing, whenever the foliage is off the trees, you can see so much more. Because come summertime, the vegetation is dense. Nice little bench. Great place to take a break, have a snack, have a drink of water. And here's where the North Country Trail intersects with the bike trail. You can see some greenery. Things are starting to green up. And I'm coming up on North Shore Drive. And as with all road crossings, you want to look both ways and use caution. And these signs were recently put up. So the North Country Trail from Moraine to Jennings was actually Washington's path. And back in 1753, George Washington was 21 years old, and he traveled through Butler County with the task of delivering a letter to French fort commanders in the upper Ohio Valley. The letter demanded that the French leave. And imagine in 1753 how dangerous it was. You had wild animals, and you had no idea where you were going. There were no maps, no GPS, no modern conveniences. But that's what they knew. Like they say, you can't miss what you never had. We have it easy today. We have electricity, indoor plumbing, and a lot of the modern conveniences we take for granted. They've only been around for a little over 100 years. So it's amazing to realize that humans have survived thousands of years without these modern conveniences. If a solar storm or electric magnetic waves were to wipe out all of our electricity and electronics, I will tell you, millions will die. It would definitely be survival of the fittest. Okay, we are going to have a little bit of an elevation. some roots you want to watch out for. Yeah, if there was a food shortage, I don't even want to know what the grocery stores would be like. Look 5 years ago during COVID. Look how people lined up. And I work in a grocery store, so I hope that never happens. Because if you think it's bad people fight over TVs on Black Friday, imagine you have starving people fighting over food. When you get farther away from North Shore Drive, the trail gets quieter. And there are less people. And the park is kind of busy today, which is a good thing because the weather's dry. It's a little chilly, but if you're bundled up, it's not too bad. And I decided to come hiking after church. I go to North Main Street Church of God, and if you want to watch the sermons, they stream them online, so just look for North Main Street Church of God. Straight ahead, I see a huge field. And right here we're going to have some elevation. And this looks like this was a mine at one time. And like I said before, there were a lot of mines and oil wells before Moraine State Park was created. The tree roots are nature steps. The trail levels out, and we're once again hiking through one of Moraine State Park's beautiful pine forests. Looks like a bear or some animal was angry. Look how they clawed that tree up. When you see bark missing from trees. Usually that's from a bear clawing it. And if you ever are hiking and see a bear, slowly walk away. And if you see the cubs, do not go near them, because the mom isn't too far away and the mom will attack. So don't stand there and take selfies with the cubs or say, oh, look how cute, they must be cold. No, the cubs are fine. This happens a lot in our national parks like Yellowstone, Yosemite. The animals need to get their food from the forest. They're fine. Remember, several years ago, somebody put an animal in the back of their SUV because they felt sorry for it because it was cold. Well, animals are a lot different than humans, and this is their home. They know what to do. A lot of downed trees. On top of this mine, this looks like this was once a service road. Almost looks similar to the one past the 528 trailhead. You can definitely see what looks to be a service road at one time. Okay, you're hiking along and you come to what looks like a roadbed. Actually, this was a road. It was called Camelot Road. Some of the road still is in use today. However, it stops at the gate. Camelot Road was one of many roads that were cut off by the creation of Moraine State Park. So even if you didn't have to sell your property, your life was still disrupted, because if you used these roads as shortcuts or back roads, you had to change your route around. And this road originally connected to what is today's North Shore Drive. And North Shore Drive was also one of the original roads in the park, or before the park was created. However, it was repurposed for a park road. So it continues straight down until you get to North Shore Drive. I'm going to probably hike a little bit more, then I'm going to turn around and head back. And the North Country Trail here in Moraine State Park is also known as the Glacier Ridge Trail. I'm just watching my step. So if you're looking to get bird's eye views of the lake, good luck. This is the best I can do. However, once you get past the 528 trailhead, there is a beautiful overlook. And you can see the Muddy Creek arm of Lake Arthur. And as you can clearly see, I am on a ridge, hence the name Glacier Ridge Trail. This section right here makes for some great hiking. Here you can see the Route 422 bridge through the trees. 2 months from now, this will all be covered in greenery and spring foliage. Got a nice straight tall oak tree, and you want to be careful in the warmer months. Be careful leaning up against these trees because copperheads camouflage themselves on the trees, especially when there are locusts and cicadas. Or is it cicada? I don't know. Cicada, cicada. Just don't lean up against oak trees, because copperheads are venomous, and there are 2 other snakes in PA that are venomous besides the copperhead. They are the timber rattler and the Massasauga. And the Massasauga rattlesnake makes its home at Jennings Environmental Education Center. Primarily lives in the prairie. So if you're hiking at Jennings, do not go off the trail. And snakes don't hibernate. They do what's called brumate. So it could be a mild February day and you might see a snake laying on the trail getting some sun. So when the conditions warm up, they come out. Unlike hibernation, where they sleep until April or March, depending on the animal. So be careful if we get like a nice day in January or February. Don't assume the snakes are all hibernating. Just watch your step because they may be out getting some sun. Remember, they have spring fever just like we do. They want to get out and enjoy the warm temperatures. There's some white fungus growing on this dead tree. It's not a hike until we see fungus. Well, this looks like a good place to turn around and head back. I will tell you, this elevation change coming up, it's very steep and very challenging. I've hiked up many times before, but I'm not going to do it today because I have a long week of work ahead of me. So I'm going to head back to McDanel's, head home and have leftover corned beef and cabbage. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.